Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm just leaving a meeting with Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI, and Anne O'Leary, who is the VP of Global Policy at OpenAI, and some members of my team. We were discussing, obviously, the tragedy in Tumbler Ridge, the fact that OpenAI had the opportunity to notify authorities and potentially even to stop this tragedy from happening. It's obviously incredibly devastating reality, but it's the reality that we're in. Joining us on the call was also the mayor of Tumbler Ridge. I really wanted the mayor there as someone who has felt the direct effects of this and who still is every day and could provide a bit of context for Mr. Altman about the impact of that tragic decision that was made within his company on a very small community, significant number of families, and a school that will never be the same. During the meeting, I had two specific requests of Mr. Altman and of OpenAI. The first was for an apology to the community, the parents, people affected. And the second was that OpenAI join us in a call to the federal government for a duty to report a minimum threshold across the country for all AI companies to try to find something positive out of the wreckage of this tragedy that ideally we could prevent it from happening again. I also shared that our concern about AI here is not our only concern coming out of this tragedy. We also have serious questions about the guns, why they were in the house, and serious questions about our own mental health system, and that we would have to continue to work to get those answers through a coroner's inquest and whatever was available to get those answers for British Columbians. Coming out of the call, I can advise you of a number of things. First of all, Mr. Altman is prepared to apologize. Everybody on the call recognized that an apology is nowhere near sufficient, but also that it is completely necessary. And the mayor of Tumbler Ridge is going to work with OpenAI to make sure that any public statements relating to that are done in the way that is appropriate and meaningful as much as possible, doesn't re-traumatize people in the community. And so they are going to do that work together, and we're going to help facilitate that. On the second piece, Mr. Altman agreed that OpenAI would work with our team in the provincial government to work together to find ways to provide recommendations and advocacy to the federal government around a regulatory standard that would be effective and that could actually be implemented. Now, for clarity, I don't believe that OpenAI's current standard is sufficient. Where there is an option to report, that option to not report could be taken again. But also, OpenAI has, from what I can tell and what our team can tell of the review of standards of AI companies in Canada, has the highest standard of any of the companies around reporting. So it's not acceptable that there are inconsistent standards between companies. It's not acceptable that it's up to the companies about whether or not to report, and that needs to change. We'll be pushing hard with the federal government for that to change, and there are a number of possible models. We don't prejudge any of them. But what I can tell you right now is that the status quo doesn't work, didn't work, and it very much presents the threat that it might fail again. And so change needs to be made, and quite urgently. It was a tough call. The mayor shared the raw emotion in the community, but I also want to recognize that there was no obligation on Mr. Altman to attend the call, and the fact that he did is a positive first step in an incredibly tragic situation.